When Black women build the radical economic revolution, hiding in plain sight. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for what promises to be an illuminating conversation that will challenge everything you thought you knew about economic resilience. I'm LeAnne Dolce, host of the Soft Girl Era podcast, and I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Bernice Smith, whose groundbreaking research is quite literally rewriting the economic playbook for Black women in America. Bernice isn't just another economic analyst. She's a visionary whose data driven advocacy has forced policymakers, corporations, and communities to confront uncomfortable truths about who our economy actually serves. Her work has been cited in congressional hearings, shaped corporate DEI initiatives across Fortune 500 companies, and provided the intellectual foundation for community investment programs that have channeled millions of dollars to underserved entrepreneurs. What she shared with me was so powerful, so contrary to conventional wisdom, that I knew it needed to reach beyond my podcast audience. I want to begin by acknowledging something that might seem obvious, but bears repeating. We've been taught that success in America follows a predictable formula: get an education, secure stable employment, climb the corporate ladder. This narrative is so deeply embedded in our collective consciousness that we rarely question it. We measure economic health by employment rates, celebrate job creation, and view unemployment as an unequivocal negative. But what if this framework is incomplete? What if what appears to be economic failure by traditional metrics is actually the birth of something revolutionary? This is precisely what Bernice's research reveals. In April 2025, while the broader economy added 175,000 jobs, Black women lost 106,000 positions, the largest job loss of any demographic group. Their unemployment rate jumped to 6.1%, comma, nearly double the 3.3% rate for white women. By conventional economic wisdom, this represents a crisis. Yet simultaneously, Black women are driving one of the most significant entrepreneurship booms in recent history. The share of new women owned businesses has increased by 69% since 2019, with Black women leading this charge. Even more remarkably, Black women owned businesses have demonstrated exceptional financial resilience, with average revenues increasing by 32.7% between 2019 and 2023. Let that sink in for a moment. The very demographic experiencing the most severe job losses is simultaneously creating businesses at unprecedented rates and succeeding. This isn't coincidence, it's transformation. What Bernice helped me understand is that we're witnessing a profound shift in how Black women engage with the economy, not as employees subject to systemic barriers, but as creators of their own economic destinies. Think about April 2025. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released what seemed like just another employment report. But buried in those numbers was something shocking. Black women's unemployment rate jumped a full percentage point in just 1 month, while the national rate remained steady at 4.2%. According to HBCU Money, Black women's employment reached a 5 month low, while unemployment hit a 5 month high. This wasn't a blip, it was a pattern. Federal jobs, historically stable employers for Black women, were being slashed. DEI initiatives that had opened doors were being dismantled across industries. And the persistent last hired, first fired reality meant Black women were disproportionately vulnerable to cuts. Now imagine being Tasha, a marketing executive with 15 years of experience who was let go during this period. After 3 months of interviews where she kept making it to the final round but never receiving an offer, she made a decision. Instead of continuing to knock on doors that weren't opening, she launched her own digital marketing firm. Within 6 months, she had 4 clients and was earning more than her previous salary. By year's end, she had hired 2 other Black women who had faced similar barriers. This story isn't unique, it's being replicated thousands of times across America. Gusto's 2025 Women's Entrepreneurship Report documents this phenomenon in stunning detail. Despite facing greater barriers to capital, mentorship, and business networks, Black women entrepreneurs have leveraged digital platforms, community resources, and alternative funding methods to launch and grow their businesses. Many have developed adaptable, resilient business models that didn't just survive recent economic disruptions, they thrived through them. Consider Latoya, who started a beauty supply business after being passed over for promotion 3 times in favor of less qualified colleagues. When traditional banks denied her loans despite her perfect credit score, she turned to community lending circles and crowdfunding. Today, her business supplies products to salons across 5 states and employs 7 people from her community. Or think about Kendra, who transformed her side hustle, creating natural hair care products, into a full time business after being laid off. Using social media marketing and direct to consumer strategies, she built a loyal customer base that grew her revenue by 45% in just 2 years, despite limited startup capital. These women aren't anomalies, they represent a powerful trend. Black women entrepreneurs have not only started businesses at record rates, but have achieved substantial revenue growth with average increases of 32.7% between 2019 and 2023. This growth significantly outpaces many other business segments, showing that Black women entrepreneurs aren't just starting businesses, they're building sustainable, growing enterprises despite facing greater barriers to capital and resources. As Audre Lorde famously said, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Perhaps Black women entrepreneurs are demonstrating the truth of this statement in real time, not by trying to fix a system designed without them in mind, but by building something new. This reminds me of something my grandmother used to tell me. When they close the front door, don't waste time knocking, find a window, build a back door, or better yet, construct your own house. The entrepreneurial revolution, led by Black women, embodies this wisdom perfectly. Now, I want to be clear about something. Highlighting this entrepreneurial response doesn't mean we should accept or ignore the systemic barriers Black women face in traditional employment. The disproportionate job losses remain unacceptable and demand attention. We need targeted policy interventions, strengthened DEI initiatives, expanded federal employment opportunities, and specific support programs for Black women in the workforce. But we must simultaneously recognize and support the alternative economic pathway Black women are forging. This isn't just about individual success stories, it's about a collective reimagining of economic participation that could ultimately benefit everyone. Consider this. What if the traditional employment model itself is flawed? What if the future of work isn't about securing a position within an existing structure, but creating structures that better serve human needs and values? Black women entrepreneurs may be pioneering approaches that address not just racial and gender inequities, but fundamental limitations in how we've organized economic life. Their innovations could point the way toward more flexible, humane, and sustainable models of work and wealth creation. This perspective challenges us to reconsider how we measure economic health. If we focus exclusively on employment rates, we miss the entrepreneurial revolution happening right before our eyes. If we define success solely in terms of corporate advancement, we overlook the profound value of business ownership and economic self determination. The data Bernice shared reveals something profound. What appears as crisis in employment statistics may actually be accelerating a powerful economic transformation led by Black women entrepreneurs. This isn't to minimize the real hardships job loss creates, it's to recognize the complex, multifaceted nature of economic change. Maya Angelou once wrote, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated." Black women entrepreneurs embody this resilience, turning obstacles into opportunities, constraints into creativity. Their journey reminds me of the African proverb, "Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors." The very challenges Black women have faced in traditional employment may be developing capacities that serve them well as entrepreneurs: adaptability, resourcefulness, determination, and the ability to create value with limited resources. The financial success of these businesses is creating new economic foundations in communities that have historically been underserved by traditional economic development. Black women entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're building economic ecosystems that can support broader community prosperity. So, where do we go from here? This isn't just about observing a phenomenon, it's about actively participating in a transformation. If you're an employer, examine your hiring, promotion, and retention practices. Ask yourself the hard questions about who advances in your organization and why. If you're an investor, recognize that Black women owned businesses remain dramatically underfunded despite their proven performance, and adjust your portfolio accordingly. If you're a consumer, your dollars are votes for the kind of economy you want to see. Use them intentionally. And if you're a Black woman navigating these complex economic realities, whether as an employee facing barriers, an entrepreneur building something new, or someone contemplating your next move, know that your economic choices aren't just personal decisions, but potentially revolutionary acts. The data shows us both the problem and the emerging solution. But data alone doesn't create change, people do. And that's where each of you comes in. I challenge you today, don't just leave here thinking differently, leave here committed to acting differently. Identify one specific action you'll take this week to either combat discrimination in hiring and advancement or directly support a Black woman owned business. Then share that commitment with someone who will hold you accountable. Because in the end, this isn't just about Black women's economic success, it's about creating an economy that works for everyone. When we support those who have been most marginalized, we ultimately build systems that better serve us all. As Bernice so powerfully stated, when Black women win, everyone wins. Their economic liberation isn't the end of the story, it's just the beginning of a more just and vibrant economy for all. The revolution is already happening. The only question is, which side of history will you be on?